What's up, everyone? This is Kevin with another episode of the Managing Partners Podcast, and I'm back with a good friend of mine, and we like to riff. We like to go where we're going to go, but we do have a topic for you today, which is really cool. And I got Chris Earley here on the show. Thanks for joining me again. What's up?
Kevin, thank you so much. It's good to see you. How you doing today?
Yeah, doing good. It's fall day in Virginia here. Hopefully no more hurricanes are coming up the coast. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, crazy in Florida right now. Crazy stuff. Insane.
At Array we have probably 5+ employees down in Florida. So
okay.
All good. Checked in with all of them. Nothing crazy.
Thank God.
So that's good. So hopefully all will be well with other people down there. But today, me and Chris were talking about some topics, and I was like, me and Chris, I can probably record with him once a week, but I'm trying to think of some topics, and he has some cool topics that he sent me. And one just stood out. It was outmaneuvering the 800-pound gorilla in your market. And so if you're listening, especially for a PI, those exist, right? And most markets, these big guys are coming in, spending big dollars, taking over radio, TV, and all of the above. And from a SEO kind of strategy or paid ads online, it gets really challenging and difficult to go against them. So just want to see what Chris has to share. I'll add in my own experience and commentary as well. But Chris, interested to see what you got to share with us on that.
No, I appreciate it. So, it's no secret, law is extremely competitive. Personal injury, especially, so competitive. We do have these massive firms. And I'm sure everyone on the call can relate, right? There's just such keen competition. What I have discovered is that I'm not going to take down John Morgan, so I'm not going to try to. So I use my strengths and try to minimize my weaknesses. And so I think solo and small firm attorneys can be nimble and adapt and be versatile, where a big, ginormous firm isn't so adept at doing that. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, and I can sketch out a few things that we've done at my firm in Boston. We're a personal injury firm, and I can share some things that help us grow, even though we're surrounded by these massive firms, PI firms coming to Boston. I do think there's plenty of work for everyone. We just have to be a little creative, right? Think outside the box to get the cases.
No, absolutely. And you being in Boston, large market. I love Boston, by the way. I get to go once a year for my wife's company Christmas party in Boston. So I'll be there December 18th, 19th. So I'll have to hook up.
Let's connect.
Yeah, we got to do it. So, but yeah, you're in this big market, so you're not on the show here coming from some small town in the middle of nowhere. So, I'd love to hear, what you're doing so others can hopefully learn from that and see how they can replicate it. So,
sure. I'm a big believer in hiring really good people, right? If we're intentional about who we're trying to attract, we're going to get what we attract. If we're kind of arbitrary and willy-nilly who we hire, we're going to get bad team members potentially. Maybe we get lucky, maybe not. But I try to really focus on that. So I believe in the power of a solid team, right? Get really strong people together, rowing in the same direction. You can go at a pretty good clip and be a very strong team. So we have scaled quickly. I've taken my lumps. I've had some misses with hiring. We've also had some hits. We've connected on a few, really solid positions, good hires. So we start with job ads, right? We're very specific who we're trying to attract, who we're not trying to attract. Interviewing, we're really focused on sniffing out, does this person have our core values or not? Because I can't run without a great team around me. I can only do so much, right?
Yeah.
A lot of lawyers, Kevin, you talk to so many lawyers every day. Everyone's trying to do things a lot of times by themselves. You need great people around you. So I think that's how you can compete. We haven't even spent any money yet. We're just, for short money, putting job ads out, and we're trying to attract those A players. And I think if you do some real intentional hiring, some personality testing, so you can kind of see what you're getting, hire on your core values, you get those people on the bus. I think that's a massive advantage that you can play to and leverage as you grow your firm.
100%. We hire and fire by core values. We use our core values on a daily basis, which I'm happy to share kind of how we do that, which is in a kind of unique way. Every single day. But yeah, hiring and firing by those and being like, it's a hell yes or a hell no.
Yes.
And there's some gut feeling that goes into that too. You got to meet the requirements and the core values, but you have that like kind of gut feeling like, this doesn't feel right. You should be like, nope, something's not. So, I've had that in the past where I had a gut feeling, but my partner like was in love with them, and I'm just like didn't say anything. And we don't do that anymore. But and then you get some bad hires, and you're like, what? Well, I didn't feel right about them for some reason, And so I think you need to really be strict about with that and what you're saying.
It's hard. It's hard business because you're trying to project, is this person going to fit? How do you know? Like you're going with your gut. You're going on some data that you may have, maybe some team members, right? I think it's good to get some buy-in if you can, perhaps a stamp of approval from your team, whether you have one person or 30 people. Yeah, we like this person, or maybe let's give this person a more skeptical look, right? Maybe not the best fit. I'm a big believer in getting approval because I don't want to be this one says, okay, Kevin, here's our new, attorney. I want to make sure, am I missing something? Is Kevin the right, attorney for what we're trying to build here? Whoever, case manager, whoever, whatever position you're going to be on the team. Right. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, so we hired the right person, but that's the first part. I think once they come on the bus, you got to really, onboard them the right way and make them, quickly see that they've made the right decision, right? I believe it's really important to demonstrate you made the right decision because people generally only work at so many places throughout their careers. For the most part, professionals have only so many spots that they land during their working years. So we want to demonstrate you made the right decision, but we got to train them up, envelop them in our culture, hug, embrace them to show them that, hey, you made the right decision. We're doing big things. You just made a superb decision by joining our team, right? A lot of big firms are just, big real firms are so massive and they can't sometimes always be. Frankly. And that may not bode so well. That may not feel so great for that new hire just came on. So again, I'm sure there's a lot of big mess firms that have this dialed in, but this is a soft spot I feel like you can really take advantage of and maximize at your own firm. And again, you haven't spent any money yet. You're just showing them how to do what you guys do in line with your core values. So you hire you on board. I think you're in a good spot.
Yeah. So I'll speak to this a little bit. So if they're coming from a different firm or maybe they've worked at a few firms, they're going to be judging your experience of onboarding through what they've had before. And you want to make sure that they're like, wow, this is clearly different. And that's probably the best thing that I like. We spend a lot of time on our onboarding. We have a whole team just for onboarding people and clients, separate teams.
Great.
And so it's great to talk to an employee because sometimes I won't meet some of my team members for like a month in some cases. So my team is the one that's hiring everyone versus me going, oh, I want to hire this person. And so it's not that way anymore. It used to be. So I'll do like a call like once a month with all the new folks. We have like 55 people. But man, I don't know all these people yet. That's crazy. And they go, wow, I'm meeting you, the owner of the leadership. I watched your podcast, onboarding, and this place is truly different than any place I've been. And hearing that from them,
that's so cool.
We're also trying to say, hey, where could we have done better?
Right.
And there's always going to be some kind of thing we could do better. But no, I 100% agree with you, and I think that's the most important piece because I do marketing. Your whole team, every single person on your team is your marketing. It is your 100%. Brand. They're talking to your clients. Everything. And they're like, wow, something's different about Earley Law. Like it's all the people. Like I want to refer them business. I want to tell everyone about them. That's what you want to come out of it. So.
Yeah, I hope people just wrote that down. So I agree. Marketing starts at intake, right? That's when the marketing to that brand new client begins because you want referrals. You want that new client to be a raving fan. And I think that's really important. But just to back up for a second, we're onboarding this person at a high level. We're doing the best we can. Like you said, we innovate, we tweak the process, little Kaizen, right? Just tweaking, improving continuously. But the people I personally look for, I don't have all the answers. It's just how I've approached this is I like humble people who truly want to help and serve people, because again, it's a personal injury law firm. I can't hire arrogant, callous, unempathetic people. It's not gonna work well for us, for the client. So I like people who actually like derive pleasure and fulfillment and like serving and helping people, because that's what we are as attorneys. We're serving the public. We're problem solvers. So you give me someone who's humble. I think of Patrick Lencioni, right? The Ideal Team Player, hungry. I encourage everyone to buy that book if you haven't read it already. Anything about Patrick Lencioni is worthwhile. But the Ideal Team Player talks about, right? I know you're an avid reader. Humble, hungry, and smart. Those are the people you want, right? Onboard them the right way. I think that's how you can control what you can control. Again, I encourage lawyers, don't try to compete. That's the whole point of this talk that we're talking about today, Kevin. I'm not trying to compete with anyone, but I'm trying to do my thing at the highest level, and I'll see where the chips fall. But I like my chances if we're very focused, intentional about doing this at a high level. We can be nimble and adapt. We're a bigger firm. It takes a long time to move that boat a little bit in each direction. The smaller firm can move a little quicker if they can adapt.
Yeah, and you can spend a lot of time looking at your competition and trying to compete, especially when you know you can't in that situation, right? With like a Morgan. So it's good to keep an eye on your competition, but how are you coming up with your own unique ideas and innovating yourself and focus on that, the things you can control, and just do the best you can with everything you can. Yeah, I think it gets overwhelming sometimes to think about all the things you should be working on and all the things you should do. Super important. I mean, if you hire super fast and you don't have all these things in place, you're bringing people in and you're constantly having turnover and you're constantly having problems.
Right.
And then I know some people get, lawyers especially, hey, well, we need somebody, so you might jump the line a little bit. You might skip some steps and say, well, we just have to hire them because we don't have the help. If you're positioned right though, and your marketing is good, your onboarding process and your team shines, right? They have that culture. They're just like, you're going to attract the people, not because of the pay. Like it's going to be a no brainer for them.
100%.
And so hiring's a lot easier if you have a great culture.
Right. I've got team members that recruit other, new team members. And I love that. I've really, I encourage the audience to experiment with that. If you haven't already, you already have great people. If you don't, you need to find great people. Assuming you got some good people, they know good people. So let's make it, we don't need to go fishing outside, right? We can just fish inside these walls but let's be honest and say, okay, sometimes we make hiring mistakes, right? So again, the bigger firm, they're just growing so rapidly. They just, like you said, they may just have to like take on, people just to fulfill the operations. But the smaller firm can identify, okay, if we made a mistake, like we should cut bait with the person, because it's not fair to keep this person on the bus. So I encourage you, if you've made a hiring decision that you think, someone very, very bright shared with me recently, the first time you think, did I make a mistake on that hire, is probably an indication you did, right? So if you're thinking that, even on a basic level, you may have. But the test I like to ask myself is, if I could go back in time, when I enthusiastically rehire this person, it tends to gives me an answer. But I think more times than not, if we're super focused, right, you're very focused on your hiring, you're going to connect more often than you strike out. And that's a great way to compete, I feel like, with the bigger firms.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you pay a lot of money, especially in PI, possibly pay a lot of money for a lead, whether or not they came through Billboard and they finally found you, or they, Google ads or search or whatever. To not have them turn into a referral is a massive lost opportunity, right?
Yes.
I had a guest on not too long ago. We're talking about intake, and they had a whole department just for client intake. And there's 3 partners in the firm. One partner focuses on marketing, the other partner focuses on like operations, and the other partner is client experience. I think that's what it was called. And so just constantly improving, because they're like, we get all these leads, clients. How do we make sure that they're going to be referrals in the future? Otherwise, you're cycling through new leads, constantly new leads.
Right.
And so your culture, your people, everything influences whether or not they're going to become a referral in the future for you, whether it's friends
100%.
or family or, another situation. But you're wasting a lot of money. You're spending a lot of money you don't know about if you're not working on the referral piece of things and the customer or client experience, if you will. So,
Oh, no question. And again, for the solo or small firm lawyer, this is all free stuff, right? Let's talk about culture for a second. It doesn't cost you money to create good culture, right? Show your team love, care, and concern. Again, I said, put your arms around them, right? And just, they know they're in the right spot.
yeah.
We have great retention, and that's not an accident, right? There was a time where when I was trying to figure this stuff out, or initially starting in the beginning stages of trying to get this stuff dialed in, I had some departures that was very painful. But over time, you sort of lick your wounds, you get back up, and your culture congeals and tightens. But it takes a lot of time. But I feel like if you show your team that love, care, and concern, that's how they're going to treat your clients. That's how you get. I'm a cultural lunatic because I feel like it's the the straw that stirs the drink. I mean,
Yeah. And, obviously there's a lot out there about culture. Culture's out there a lot. But I think it could also be like, this is like this touchy feely thing that I don't, whatever. I don't need to do core values. I don't need to do this. Mission statement's stupid. I used to think that. I literally used to think this is like, really, do we need that? And when we had like 8 people, we were like, okay, let's do this. We're in a entrepreneurs organization, which is a business group, mastermind group. And we did like a whole day workshop and we're like, okay, whatever. And then we started developing them and work on them and change them and dial them in. And now we live by them completely. So I think as a younger attorney, younger entrepreneur, you're kind of like, whatever. It's not for me. I don't need that. Or I'm just a solo. Don't need that. And I would argue that you need to pay attention and put those things into action 100%. Because if you want to grow and scale and you don't have those things in place, you're just scaling problems, right?
Absolutely. That's well said, right? Can agree more. When I was a younger attorney, I had culture schmaltzer. I didn't really even probably know what it was, but now it's like it's everything. And it seems like you've done a nice job of figuring that out, in your own company.
Well, I got my partner, who's he kind of, he likes to take things on and go, okay, we haven't done this, let's figure this out. And so I give him credit for, taking some of those strides and being like, we got to figure this out. Everyone keeps telling me this, it must be important. And so we've done a good job just to do it. But I've said this probably on the podcast before, but imagine you do get a bad hire. Chris hires the wrong person. His team, something, they got by everybody, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And there's some ungenuine people out there. They can, say they do all this and they sound nice, they look nice. And then for some reason, something's off. But Chris might not notice it. A good culture will get them out of the company for you.
That's a really good point. Really,
they
go,
Chris, something ain't right about Sally, and that's when the red flags go off, and your team will, because they don't want the culture being tainted. They want to be there. It's their company.
Right.
They have, let's say, was it ownership? Not real ownership, but it's what do you call it? I can't think.
I'm with you.
Not emotional ownership. But they have literally like 100%. Ownership of your company. This is their company, right?
Yeah. And to me, Kevin, good culture would be, anyone on my team, I don't care about your position, coming to my office and like pounding my desk. He's the wrong guy. She's not the right. But we got it. I want that spirited, dialogue, because then I'm like, oh man, we got a problem. But what I'm happy about is that person came to me because they care about taking care of this culture, precious egg that we've worked our butts off to give life to and expand and bolster. So that to me is good culture. We swung and missed on this person, but someone is going to tell me that, because I may not work with that person a lot. I don't really maybe know that person very well. That's a good sign. But another thing I want to mention, right? And again, a big topic here is performing at a high level without spending a lot of money, because a lot of, again, small firm attorneys, they're cash strapped. They just don't have unlimited funds, cash access like a big grill firm does. But the client service, right? I'm culture obsessed and client service obsessed. Those things align. We have a core value is 5-star client service. So it doesn't cost you a lot of money to make people feel amazing, right? The Ritz-Carlton, they definitely spend money to make you feel amazing. If they screw up, they're going to turn you around, and make you feel amazing. But like you got to treat the clients like gold. I swear, when you do that, you get reviews. What reviews get you is referrals, raving fans. See, those things I think are low hanging fruit. If you're focused, you're intentional, you can nimbly and sort of in a versatile way improve. Whereas the big firm, it takes them time to innovate these things, right?
Oh yeah.
Big fan of client service.
Well, when you speak about reviews, the thing about your employees and when they're interviewing, like I have a few people on my team interview a person. So, but that person's always like, "Oh, how do you like working there?" Right? And their review of working here, right, is securing that person that we want, wanting to also work there. And so they have those conversations. And so it's not just your client reviews, but it's your employees. Like, what are they saying about you? To the new hires, right? And if you're trying to attract this best person that you want, that's going to go a long way. And again, it is your marketing, right? It is everything. That first call, how your employee sounds on the phone, how you handle the clients. I mean, all that is your marketing. And so that's how you can be attractive, right? And
absolutely.
if I'm a client calling the big guy down the street because he's advertising everywhere, and then I land on your desk at the same time, what's that experience difference, right? And who am I going to go with?
And 100%, I'm with you. And let's keep in mind, not every potential or actual client wants a big firm. They may want some handholding. They may want a little bit more of a smaller, firm feel, because that's what they're looking for. So lean into that hard, right? You're not the right lawyer for everybody, and that's okay. You don't want to be, right? But for those people who do want to retain you, we got to get them we got to get them signed up, right? We can't, this starts at intake. I think that's when the client experience begins, right? We talked about the marketing starts at intake, client, let's just, say fast forward for a second, right? The case is over. That's not the end of the relationship. They're still a client, and they should be a client for life because you're sending them newsletters. We prolifically communicate with our former clients, Kevin, because we want referrals. We want to stay top of mind, right? So that relationship, once they sign, that client signs today, they should be, they should never forget about you. So let's, market to them and stay in touch with them. Send them birthday cards, because they will forget about you. I can speak from experience. If you don't stay in touch and really be intentional about that, we get a lot of referrals because we're focused on staying in touch with you. And no one ever, I can tell you, maybe 1 or 2 people said, "Hey, take me off your newsletter list." It's like, oh, good, you're off. But I don't care if they throw my newsletter in the trash. They see my name every month, so we're top of mind, right? That's all right with me.
Well, I used to be, because I own a digital marketing company. So if it isn't digital, it sucks. You can't track it. Totally not me. Not me anymore, because if you were going to be a client, and I called your office to check because we had a meeting and you didn't show up or something, and then I call your office and I don't get anybody for a little while, or can't get to you, and so then I go, "Well, man, what if I send this guy leads? Like, who's answering the phone? What's the experience like? What does he do after that?" So if my client can't have things in place to give a good client experience and have follow-up to build referral sources and keep those alive, we're just like a lead machine for them. And that's not what I want to be. And that's not a good way to run a business. And so I'll have a lawyer be like, "Yeah, I need 10 more leads a week. Can you guys do that for me?" It's like, okay, well, what does that mean for you? Like, what does that do for your business? Can you handle that? What's your process like? Do you have intake squared away? Probably not. How can you improve it? But it's, gone are the days just like signing a client without trying to do a little bit more. And some clients don't want to hear any of that, and they're not a good fit. Like, "Kevin, no. We don't want to hear about any of that stuff. Like, we just need more clients." Okay, well, are you really going to be happy with just more clients? I don't know. So it's going deeper than that and understanding, is the firm that wants to market more really there to do the right things, to do what you're doing, right? To care about their team, employees, take care of the clients, And then hopefully those leads that they already paid for, that they converted, they're investing back in to keep top of mind with, right?
Yeah, lawyers can get lazy sometimes. Hey, Kevin, I need more leads. That's my panacea for my problems. No. You probably have enough lead volume. You just need to convert, drip campaigns with these leads, because you're driving leads. It's not a leads problem. I'm going to bet it's a conversion problem, an organizational, systemic sales problem.
Sales problem.
Yeah, 100%.
I got an awesome I got a great lawyer, a client of ours that is in a rural area. I was going to mention that real quick. I know you got to jump.
Yeah.
But a lot of success if you're, thinking about the 800-pound gorilla in the middle of a city center or metropolitan area. And, I've seen so much success with lawyers that are outside of the area or in between. Lloyd Bourgeois comes to mind. He's
a friend of mine. Lloyd's a great guy.
Saw him at GLM, and he's between two big areas, but he's in the middle. So he plays the local community law firm card, and he gets business from both those big areas plus his small towns. I have another lawyer that's in the middle of in Washington State, in the middle of the mountains, and he calls me up and says, "Man, we have a sales problem. We're generating a lot of leads that he never had, and now he has a sales problem." So then I connected him with my friend Ben Leader, who's a guest on the show.
Ben's a friend of mine too. Ben's a great guy.
Well, we know everyone.
Ben's my guy.
Ben took his firm from 170 cases a year to 500 with zero extra marketing, no extra advertising. They had a big intake and sales problem. 500
intake dialed in.
Yeah, they 5x basically by just focusing on what's going on in the front office and the front end here. So check out
It was a good episode. Those are both two good guys. Lloyd Bourgeois, Ben Leader, good friends of mine. Reach out to them. The audience, definitely good people to know.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about this topic, dealing with big competition, big cities, big areas. Two gentlemen that understand that and have done well with it. So, well, Chris, I know you got to go. You have kids, I think, or something to pick up. I probably got something to do at home with kids as well. So, but always a great time, just riffing with you and talking about stuff. Culture is so important. And I think it's just something that can be a loose topic sometimes, and people hear it and, they're not really serious about it. But take it from me and Chris that it's probably the most important part of your whole business, and it's going to flow through everything that you do. So clients will notice it, employees will notice it, and your
stuff matters.
Yeah, 100%,
big time.
All right, well that's one way to outmaneuver the big guys. So get serious about this stuff. Reach out to Chris if you want to connect with Chris, and you don't know Chris. Let me know. I'll connect you. So.
Yeah, I'm all over LinkedIn. I'm easy to find on social media. And if you want, I have an email blast that I send out to hundreds of lawyers throughout the country. It's completely free, practicetipoftheweek.com, practicetipoftheweek.com. You get my email newsletter for attorneys. I try to hit you with valuable needle-moving content each and every week. So I got a lot of lawyers on that list. I try to give my best stuff every week. So join that list, practicetipoftheweek.com. But don't be a stranger. I love talking about this stuff, Kevin. That's why I like our conversations. We geek out. We're into this. We're into it. It's fun, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, and just follow Chris on LinkedIn. His post, I think, pretty much every day. I see a post when I wake up. I'm like, oh, there's a new Chris post.
Can't get rid of this guy.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And I always go, hey, I like your hat and that shirt. Where's mine? And he never.
Yeah. We got to get you some swag. And I want some.
I'll have to show up in Boston to get my stuff. We'll figure it out.
We'll hook you up, man.
I'll see you at Mardi Gras.
I'm excited. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a fun one. I'm excited.
This episode might be out after Mardi Gras. So if you're watching, it was great to see you there. And we had a great time. So, all right, Chris. Well, I appreciate everything. Everyone, thanks for tuning in, listening to Knuckleheads talk, and we'll see you on the next episode. So,
thanks, Kevin.